once the Soviet Union was able to annex those Western territories, of course it got a very confessionally diverse and confessionally active region that suddenly now was part of the USSR, which meant that overnight, I mean, the sheer number of active parishes in Soviet Ukraine was, of course, far higher, and certainly far higher if one thinks in proportional terms than the other republics, certainly other Eastern Christian republics, that is to say, Belarus and Russia itself. So Soviet Ukraine, in that sense, presented quite a formidable challenge. One of the confessional groups that was to come in for some of the harshest repression was the Ukrainian Greek Catholic Church. It was eventually outlawed and entirely driven underground. And during the entire Soviet period, it was the largest confessional group to be outright banned. There were approximately 5 million believers affiliated with that faith tradition, so this was quite remarkable. Those that clergy and believers who were associated with this church were then obliged to reaffiliate to the Orthodox Church or otherwise cease practicing their faith. So during the war, Soviet Ukraine itself, with those annexed territories, presented particular challenges to Ukraine, which initially were met by banning the Greek Catholic Church. Into the 1950s, under Khrushchev, who largely is viewed as a reformer, but one area in which he had not at all progressive tendencies was vis-a-vis religion. He, of course, pioneered the anti-religious campaign, which began in 1958, and it set out fairly high quotas that affected Soviet Ukraine in terms of outright shutting down churches. And so in that sense, once again, proportionately, there were a far greater number of churches closed in Soviet Ukraine than many of the other republics.